of activism.
The Cardi-Grils, we're Cardi-Grils. I'm gonna say what we want. The Cardi-Grils, singing from the front. The Cardi-Grils, our mouths are our guns, and we here and fighting, cause it has to be done. We're gonna say what we want. The Cardi-Grils, singing from the front. The Cardi-Grils, our mouths are our guns, and we here and fighting, cause it has to be done. We're gonna say what we want.
Brag to your friends like
Cardi-Grils, singing from
it's like a bit of a free for all, isn't it? Really?
what you
I think there's an assumption that
For a while now, Jodie, while we talk about some of this week's highlights.
Yep, absolutely.
We're gonna say what we
Like
want. The
Carlton,
Cardi-Grils. We're singing from the front. The Cardi-Grils. Our mouths are our guns, and we here and fighting, cause it has to be done.
Hi,
Hello, hello.
how are you? Is it
I'm
hot?
all right. How are
Are
you?
you hot in Adelaide?
We are getting hot. We were warm to middling at the moment. It was 27 here where I am today in the
Oh, that-
Adelaide Hills. So probably what it was hot down in the city. Yes.
Yeah, very pleasant. That's a good temperature,
Oh,
isn't
it's
it?
not, it feels a little bit more Christmassy now.
Yes.
Up until the last few days, it's been feeling like we were pretending, but so much so that I went to the op shop today and bought
Oh, let it snow.
Let It Snow.
Let it snow. Let it snow.
Let it snow, so that I can thrill my grandchildren with sparkles.
Oh, that's
Oh gosh!
and the dog.
Oh, my dogs are barking. That's embarrassing. Sorry. Oh God.
Got a visitor. Santa.
Yeah. My son has come to pick something up, and they've stopped. That's good. Sorry, because the one who's got dementia. Once he starts, he doesn't stop.
Oh, really?
He forgets why he's barking, and then he keeps barking.
It probably
So
feels good.
Oh, it gives him something to do.
Yeah.
Hey, you said you might be coming to Adelaide.
Yes. So, next March, you've got the Fringe Festival on, and they're having a Power of Activism Day. So, at the moment, there's going to be some really good speakers. It's sort of going to go all day on the 8th. So, it's a step into a day of courage, creativity, and connection through film, photography, music. It'll be a great day. And so far, the confirmed speakers, they've got David McBride's lawyer, Eddie Lloyd.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because they're still fighting to try and get him out.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's terrible when you get locked up for telling the truth. But anyway, so I think Jodie, who's I've been working with and talking about this, she'll come on the show in January to give everybody a really update on it. And then I don't think you have to buy tickets because I think it's a free event. So
does it say where it's being held?
I think it's at Burnside Ballroom.
Oh, that's nice. Yes.
From 12 lunchtime to 10 p.m. at night.
Yep. Very nice.
Day of courage, creativity, and connection through film, photography, dance, poetry, music, artists, and activists unite to celebrate the art of change. So, so I think it'll be a really, really good day. So, as the end of it says, every action counts. So everybody doing their little bit.
That's
must help waking everything up.
Yeah.
So, every bit. I don't think all the freedom people that are speaking, it's not really freedom, it's truth speaking. I think it's all really worth it. People must be waking up, surely.
I think they are. This digital ID palaver is going to wake up lots of people. And as Michael was saying earlier, Kelly's just sending me a text message. And very professional. Here we go. Kelly has just sent me this message. I shall read it. This may be the last Cardi-Grils show on Facebook.
Yeah, not the last show, just on Facebook.
No. Just the last show on Facebook if they demand digital ID from us. Yeah, Michael is already censored on Facebook for not giving them the facial recognition video. Well, I won't be giving them a facial recognition video either.
I wonder if anybody's given them a photo of their bum.
Well, What about a photo of my cat's bum?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. That'd be really good.
Yeah, so we will still be doing our show. We just may not be streaming to Facebook.
No, they have to look at it Rumble or Twitter, somewhere else. Yeah, because I agree. If Facebook are going to be this, seeing he's got 7 yachts. I heard today, 6 or 7 yachts. What's his name? Zuckerberg?
Has he?
Yeah, yeah. What's he got 7 for? What do you need 7 yachts for? Seriously. Anyway. So, yeah, they need to be brought back in line. But maybe it's not him. It might be our commissioner, safety commissioner. Who knows?
It's either going to be a massive wake up for people, which I think it already is. And my husband was saying, what about the kids that are 15 and a half and are already on social media and they rely on it for their
what I want to know,
their social life, like what's going to happen
do they
to
know
those
what
kids?
their birth date is?
I don't know. Sorry, I'm scratching my head. That's the other exciting thing that happened to me is I got bitten by a white-tipped spider. And about this time every night I just start getting a bit itchy. So I'll try not to think about that.
No, don't think about it. Step on it next time. Well, I'm saying on stepping on it, there's certain things that we don't step on. The most important things buzzing around that we need. So we tracked down Simon from the B-Man. I've got him in my phone as Simon B-Man. So can Simon B-Man come in?
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Kate.
Hello, Simon.
Thank you, Simon B-Man. I've got you down as Simon B-Man in my phone.
Yeah, a few people call me that. For a decade I've been running this Save the Bees program.
So what got you into? Oh, sorry, we better talk.
I'll just quickly explain. If we have a question, we just hold up our spoon like that. Hang on, get it. So if you're talking and one of us thinks that we'd like to ask you something, we'll hold up the spoon and then you pause at the soonest opportunity and we'll ask our question.
And you might get audience questions too.
And we do get audience questions too sometimes. It's just to stop us from talking over the top of each other and thus causing confusion amongst the viewers. So I'll sit here quietly and you two chat because you know Simon and you know what he's about and you teach me things that I don't know, please.
My first question, did you have a win on the Melbourne Cup?
I actually missed the Melbourne Cup this year because I was out, doing bee swarms. It was swarm season and I took my son to a surf and I came back and I missed it. I saw that it was the female jockey won. That was all my family were talking about when I missed the sweep.
Oh, right. Okay. Oh, well, you were working. I mean, I don't think I even watched it. So there you go. I think I heard it somewhere that the female jockey had won again. So that was good. Yeah.
I went on the Saturday after, my son was desperate to go, but it rained for the whole event. There was a DJ playing called Fisher. I don't know if you know the younger age group. And it got flooded out for me, but my son had a good time.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So what took you into the world of bees?
So I, by mistake, probably started Save the Bees. I guess it was over a decade ago. There weren't that many of us, and it was such a real struggle to get a hive. But I found one of eBay, or I met this guy in a Polish guy under the Westgate Bridge, and he said he brought in these special queens that he got genetics from Poland or something. And I started off my first hive, and then I had a few spare boxes. Contacted the local council and said I'll collect swarms and try to rescue bees that were invading other people's houses or compost bins, or we get them in all sorts of areas. And I started. That would have been when social media was starting, and it was amazing. I was so obsessed. I was reading books. And then I'd find the authors of the books and I'd ask them questions. And it was just, so amazing at the time. And in the past, my hobbies had been surfing and fishing. And the fishing was always a bit, smelly and baiting. And then all of a sudden I'm around flowers and the perfume of the bees. And they really lifted me out of a hole. And so I went on a mission to rescue bees from there. But it wasn't long, the followers sort of started coming up, and I guess I became a platform for people to whistleblow. And I'm probably similar to you ladies in a way where I don't back down from the truth. And it's interesting, that truth has taken me on a big journey, and I don't know how much you know, but I've been fighting a court battle for over a decade now, and that is about fake honey entering Australia, or you would say probably more likely, imported blends that are really low quality, that are affecting every authentic beekeeper out there.
Actually, do you call that flavoured honey?
Well, it shouldn't be called honey at all. I know at some stage they tried to sneak in vegan honey, and they had some problem. They had to spell the name different of the honey. But as the testing's got better over the years, they've really caught them out. And I think it was in about 2014, I got vindicated because a new type of testing came out called NMR testing, and they found out that I think 80% of the supermarket imported stuff was fake. And so, according to, what my lawyers at one point, I shot the gun too early when you meant to have the test results first. But if back then, now it's a bit different. I used to write a lot, and it was more journalism. Now you've sort of got to articulate your thoughts. But it was, back then it was more like rhetoric anyway. But I was happy to call out the brands that I didn't want people to buy, and I've sort of continued that mission. And I was ranking honeys out of 10 throughout the year, and I've put up a few people doing the importing again, and I've had some legal letters in the last year in regards to that as well.
Is there an organisation like like they have a wheat board? Is there a honey board that actually oversees all of this?
I'm glad you asked that question, because as we've learnt, that the government gets intertwined, and the insect or the pesticide industry is intertwined. And if anyone, listeners, could be bothered, go and have a look at it. It's called AHBIC, AHBIC, on Google. And you scroll down and you see strategic partners. The first one is Crop Life, and you think, oh, who are Crop Life? And then you click on them, and then it says Roundup, glyphosate, and the lies. And then they're trying to tell you that Roundup is fine, and that you've probably seen it. Sunlight's more dangerous than Roundup. Bacon's more dangerous than Roundup. And so all this propaganda is on the honeybee website. And so that's part of the reason. That's why I started Save the Bees, because I reached out to AHBIC and I said, there's a pesticide issue in this area. All these beekeepers have been asked to move their hives out of Melbourne. Why don't you fight for the beekeepers? And he said, oh, we've got to think of all industries, not just the honey industry and the bee industry. And I said, but aren't you meant to be the voice for bees? And so at that time, I realised bees didn't have a voice. And then so I'm probably a thorn in the side of AHBIC and the
Well done.
And but part of that is I made a honey map, and a honey map has, I think there's over 1,000 beekeepers, and you put in your postcode, you find your closest beekeepers, and you buy honey direct. And at this stage, it's all free for the beekeepers too. So the big honey packers, don't like me much for that reason.
Yeah, and I guess because you are regulated to sell honey as well. It's regulated.
Well, they try to regulate this stuff, and you've probably heard that there's a mite that's entered into Australia. There's a lot of conspiracy theories around how that might have happened too, but it means that a lot of beekeepers are using harsher chemicals on their bees. They need to use, they call it a miticide, that won't kill the bees but will kill the mite. Look, it's terrible. Like, what's interesting, in Cuba and Africa, they can't afford those miticides, so they had to get resistance in their bees. And now both areas have got organic honey industries, whereas Australia at this stage are nearly forcing people to use the harsh chemicals in New South Wales and Queensland. And then we won't get the resistance, and then we'll be chemical race forever.
So what would your solution? Some people say, the stuff I've read, you let the mite run, and it might kill the bees, but then it'll die out, and that's the end of it. Is that what happens, or?
Yeah, it's like, so I don't know if it's 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 100, or like you need a resistant one to start surviving, and then you breed off that stock. So in Newcastle, around that area is where the varroa came in, and then I've got friends who lost everything. Like every beekeeper I know lost their hives. Either they got killed by the government in the first place, but now when varroa went through, I had a lot of natural beekeepers that I was close to, and they all lost their hives. But in the last 4 weeks, swarms have moved into their empty boxes, and the swarms don't have mites on them. So these people might have resistance. So there is hope, and yeah, I went to the Natural Beekeeping Conference this year, and they were explaining people in America. This nice lady, she went out collecting swarms, and all her boxes were 5-6 boxes high, and everyone else using the chemicals, bees were dying. And now they're going, the commercial industry, going back to her to try to get stock. So nature,
Takes over.
Resilient. Yeah.
Actually, we have bees. My husband we keep bees, and they're so busy at the moment because we've got a really lot of bottle brush, the red bottle brush, and I was looking at them today, and they are so busy. They've been really, really busy. But where we live, we don't use any chemical on our farm, and even the farm across the road, they wouldn't use any chemical either. So we're really lucky. The only thing that worries me, we do have pine plantations, and they spray their pines for rust and something else. I got a letter today, but
there's a scale that can go on the pine trees.
That's it. Yeah.
But that is interesting because the bees will actually forage on that and
eat it.
Honeydew, which is more valuable than honey, and the story goes that because the scale comes out over winter, and they want their bees to feed something. So a lot of these Greek immigrants would go out and drop the scale off all around Melbourne, and so they find it hard to keep on top of it. But anyway, you might get some.
Yeah. Actually, I came from a citrus farm, and Dad actually used to buy these little wasps to eat the scale.
Oh, yeah.
They were all through the orchard. We had 100 acres. We had a lot of them. He used to buy them in little vials and then release them, and that's what they did.
Well, that's a remedy, isn't it? Like, it's a lot better than pesticides. Like, it works it out. But yeah, I'm very lucky where I am. I don't have to feed bees or anything.
So what are the main threats to our bees in Australia? So you were talking about this mite. Was that introduced as a?
So the mite is introduced. Like it's a funny story, but when we're talking honeybees, they're from Europe in the first place.
Yeah.
And they came over with us to pollinate the food we're used to eating. So most of our food is pollinated by honeybees, and a lot of people don't realise that 80% of the pollination, even in the broadacre farms, is feral bees or wild bees that have moved over. And at the moment, they're collapsing or collapsed in Queensland and New South Wales. And even though these big farmers are paying for beekeepers to come out, they're still not getting the pollination. And when New Zealand had varroa hit, you could see their GDP dropped like 10 or 15%. Just on the back of the wild bees not being the pollinators. So the biggest threat definitely at the moment is varroa. But if we want to talk Indigenous bees, there's terrible things happening for Indigenous bees all over the place, like land clearing and pesticide use. Even broadacre farms themselves, like technically you shouldn't have to put bees on trucks and do the pollination, but because of the way we farm food now, they have to do that. But I think you girls would have seen a little bit what's happening in Queensland, where they've split it up between Currumbin and Sanford in Brisbane, and they're attempting to cover the whole area with poison. Like it's just so ludicrous, and it's mandated.
Madness. Follow the money, I reckon. Follow the money. We know why.
This has been lobbied for by the Invasive Species Council to get fire ants. I had a conversation with them because I went to the Senate inquiry. I then thought, who's behind this? And I got onto the two heads of the Invasive Species Council, and it was probably, we weren't on video, it must have been a conversation like this. And they said, we don't like honeybees, Simon. I'm like, oh yeah, we're happy varroas here. And I'm like, oh, well, your food's expensive. And I said, what about Indigenous bees, like the blue-banded bee? And they said, Indigenous bees? I said, yeah, have you surveyed these areas for Indigenous bees? And I go, tell us more about these Indigenous bees. I said, they live underground. They live in areas like where ants live underground. They didn't know that. So there's been no survey of the areas they're doing the poisoning. And so no environmental impact study. And then, so Queensland are getting a double whammy. They've got the poison being dropped. And a lot of beekeepers say that their bees die, but the poison is actually, it's an estrogen-based thing where it overloads the bees with estrogen and that makes them infertile. So in the past, with some insecticides, you come home like fipronil and all your bees are dead. And you feel it crunch walking to your apiary. But now they're with these other ones, you're just a slow die-off. So the beekeeper might think, oh, they're starving, but they won't realise it's just this slow poison acting that kills the queen and wipe out.
Now, do you have any truth in the story? People say the bees can be friendly or they can be unfriendly depending on the queen.
Oh, absolutely. Like there's I go beekeeping with a friend a bit. She never wears a suit, and we do a lot of social media together. And I'm like, in the back of my head, when I'm annoyed with her, I'm just going to take it in this hive that just goes. Or I went there the other day, and we had to leave the property. It was so aggressive. But that's one out of about 70 colonies that I've got. And so a lot of beekeepers will go back and they'll kill the queen and add a new queen when that happens. And but I'm like, because we haven't got varroa yet, but I'm thinking that might be one in the 1,000 that might survive it because it's so aggressive. So yeah, we need different types of bees, and so I'm a natural beekeeper, and I like those sort of varieties of genetics.
Right. So do you breed the queens?
I don't. It'll be interesting in the future when resistance comes out, whether I might try to start doing that a little bit. But what happens to me is a lot of people where I live with holiday houses and beehives. And so I'll have 40 beehives every year spare and empty to go and collect hives or swarms around town. And this year, in 2 weeks, I've run out of all my boxes. Because there's so many swarms. And one line that beekeepers have out there is that you're better off buying off a breeder, or you're better off buying a package or something off a commercial beekeeper. The best thing you can do is get a swarm if you're starting beekeeping, because they're ready to build. And so I don't do queen breeding as much.
Yeah, right. Okay. Well, that's interesting because there is necessity. I mean, and they make great honey.
It's very good.
Can I ask a question? Sorry. You asked Simon whether he breeds the queens. Are they
only one queen?
How do you breed a queen?
How do you know? Is it like choosing your gender when you're wanting a baby? Like you want just How does it work?
There's a couple of ways you do it, but I guess what will happen with a colony is that if you remove the queen, they'll have to generate another one. So they usually generate, if you do, they can turn, this is maybe the most remarkable thing. There's so many remarkable things in the beehive. But the larvae of a worker bee and the larvae of a queen bee is exactly the same. They're both female, but the queen bee's fed a substance called royal jelly her whole life. And that will mean that she can have kids and mate, where the worker bees, they never have sex. Like every other creature has sex except the female worker bees. But because of that, and I stole this from Rudolf Steiner, who made me aware of this, but because of that, they've turned their whole world into love, and they start having sex with plants. And that's how pollination happens, because they're going from the male flower sex organ to the female sex organ. They used to think that the royal jelly made her fertile, but it's actually they collect the pollen, and something within the way they collect the pollen makes the female bees a contraceptive. So
amazing.
Are there girl bees and boy bees?
There are drone bees. So there's 3 types of bees in the hive. The drone bees, which is the men, and the men.
Right.
Yeah, they don't do much work. They don't do any work. They've actually been sort of made redundant, other than being able to breed with the queen. And so the women treat the drones so well in spring that come winter they all get kicked out of the hive. And and the other thing is, once they mate, they actually commit sexual suicide. So their penis blows up and they die. And the queen bee will mate up to 100 drones in her one mating flight.
God, thank God I'm not a queen bee.
Or a drone.
Or a drone. So which if you were a bee, what would you choose to be? Not the queen, not a drone, just a worker bee. But then that sounds harsh too.
It is harsh because you're only alive for a fraction of the time. A queen lives for about 6 years, and then the worker bees, like over summer, might live for only 2 months or less, because they work so hard. But I guess they're living life fun. There's so many quotes about bees, but a busy bee has no time for sorrow, and so I think they're a very happy frequency.
So the worker bees go out and collect all the pollen and do all the activities on flowers. Yep. The drones just sit around waiting for the queen bee to say, "You're on, time, job's on."
Yeah.
And the queen has the babies.
Yeah, and the queen's probably the hardest job in a way, because she has, during spring and summer, about 2,000 eggs a day.
Amazing, isn't it?
And she doesn't leave the hive.
She only leaves the hive once or a couple of times in her life. First time will be the mating flight. And then if the hive, after a year or 2, is doing really well, she'll actually take half the numbers and try to find a new home and leave her daughters the home.
That's when you get the swarms. She's taken off. Yeah.
And so what? Sorry, this is fascinating. So can she? When you say you breed a queen bee, so does that queen bee who has all those little baby bees, are some of them queens?
They have, the workers decide whether to make them queens or not. So the
democracy.
It's a democracy.
So it's a hierarchy system.
But the people are ruling. The workers are ruling. It's not like the queen rules the hive at all. In fact, if the workers get a scent that the queen is running out of eggs, they will cuddle her to death. It's called a murder ball or a cuddle death, where 20,000 bees or 5,000 or whatever crowd her. They'll heat her up to die, but just not enough to kill themselves.
Wow.
Incredible.
They really are. That's just remarkable.
contraception, both already invented by the bees.
Yes.
That's remarkable.
Yeah. I know.
Okay, so me poisoning my weeds on the driveway with Bunnings brand
Glyphosate.
organic weed killer is no good.
Well, I don't know about an organic weed killer.
I doubt that it's organic. No,
There is a product out there called Slasher. I think it's organic.
Yeah, is that one all right?
I think it's the better one, but I did.
I think that's what I've got actually. Yeah.
I tried to do a collaboration with them, and so I had a big chat to those guys, and they were just saying that you wouldn't spray it on an insect because it would burn. I think that's how it works. It's like, it's like hard vinegar or something. It smells like vinegar, but they said it wasn't vinegar. But
yeah, because
I'm always very careful with it and just use it on the driveway where the weeds just will not come out. And I always do it on a day when it's not windy and get down really low, and but I still.
Have you got bees in your garden?
We've got wasps, lots of wasps, European wasps. Yes, there are bees. Yes, yes, definitely.
I always tell people to let the weeds flower as food for bees, and mow.
Because some weeds you can eat. Some weeds you can actually eat.
Most of them you can.
There's a book, There's a book that outlines all the herbal benefits of different weeds. Like not just your common ones too, some of the really exotic ones. So someone's just said, tell them about piping. What's piping?
You can actually make this noise. I've only heard it, maybe less than half a dozen times, and it would be like I don't know if you call it a screeching noise, but they call it piping. And generally that will be when all the queens hatch. They actually have like 6 might hatch at the one time. The one that hatches first goes around and kills all the other queens because there can only be one queen remaining in the hive. And they will make a noise to locate the others. So, it's quite a rare thing.
It's amazing, isn't it? They truly are. They're
well, they're like for me, it's a gift from the heavens, and the whole hive itself is healing. The vibration, the meditation noise, the buzzing of the noise has been used in meditation for a long time, and it's funny. People ring me up and distress saying we've got bees at our property. And sometimes I go there and they're just bees on flowers. so there's not an issue. They're just worried. These things are keeping you alive. And then I say, like, why don't you stand underneath a tree and just listen to that hum and you won't.
That's right. Actually, there is a buzzing bee breath you do in yoga. Yeah. And it's a zing noise that sometimes you do in yoga. And they call it... and they call it the buzzing bee noise. Yeah, quite, very, very good. So do you sell your honey?
Someone's asking, do you work with honey too?
I do a bit of a monologue on honey then, and so I've been obviously fighting for purity of honey for 10 years, and a lot of the supermarket honeys have been shown to be adulterated. I had 2 honey people contact me last year saying we have to do something about antibiotics in honey. So if you're buying honey of any of the main brands, you want to send them an email, say, promise me, guarantee it hasn't got antibiotics in it. The reason you don't want antibiotics in your honey is hidden antibiotics means that you're going to get your resistance up to antibiotics throughout your life. This can happen with chicken and meat as well if the animal given antibiotics. So therefore, if you get cancer or something happens later in your life, the antibiotics don't work. So that's why you really don't want it. So because I've made the honey map, so that's one way you can get your honey. And if you go to a smaller beekeeper, I'd be surprised if they did use antibiotics, but you can ask them. I was selling sort of small jars like this, but when I send them out, the postage is still like $10 or something. So I'm selling big buckets of honey, like 14-kilo buckets, and then it's cheaper doing it that way than what it'd be at the supermarket, and you're not using all the plastic that you would be at the supermarket. And I'm sourcing probably the best honey in the world as well. That was really expensive overseas.
And then people don't realise, if a couple of you get together and buy a 14-kilo bucket of honey and you split it, it's a good way to do it.
People are sending me pictures on Instagram of they're buying the buckets, putting a cool label on it, and selling it down the street and making money. And I'm like, yeah, great idea. Great way for the kids to get pocket money. It's a better way to do it. And the other thing, the problem with the supermarkets is they take so much of the money from the the profits. There's no margins in it for the beekeepers. We can't compete with this imported stuff, that's fake stuff that they get for $2 a kilo.
I have a question. I don't know who told me, but I have always thought for the last few years that honey so if you're a person who suffers from allergies, for example, seasonal hay fever, that if you eat honey that is sourced or produced by bees in your area, that can be really good to help you with your allergies. Does that make sense?
That's anecdotal evidence. And so I have vets contacting me saying honey, they're using it with animals in the area, and they're asking if they can get honey from the same area. So it definitely is plausible, but I've never seen the actual data, and I imagine it might be a little bit difficult to prove that one.
I wondered about that too, but it's also nice to buy local. So
it is, and there's another product, bee pollen. So I guess you can do that directly by consuming pollen from your own area. There's not that many beekeepers that collect pollen though.
And is that the same as propolis?
No, propolis is like a resin, usually made from sap from trees. But bees are little chemists, so it's a good one to bring up. So propolis is a topical thing, and the word means protect the city. And every area of the whole beehive is covered in propolis. And sometimes you'll see beekeepers trying to scrape it off, but I think a good technique to keep them healthy is to keep the propolis on there. So
well, it must be there for a reason. But I've noticed at the local organic shop they sell propolis in a jar, and like you can buy it by the scoop.
Oh yeah, is it by the scoop? That seems weird because it's usually hard. But I do know I've got friends who dissolve it in alcohol and then make little balms with it, and so that's one way.
Maybe I've got the wrong end of the stick.
Propolis tinctures and propolis toothpaste, and it's good.
And I think there was propolis lozenges.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
So they are antibacterial.
Someone has a question. I've long since held a belief that when using our honey, no metal should be used. Apparently, it kills the enzymes.
I think what it does is it reacts with metal. That if it's there's probably stainless steel that's okay, but the general
aluminium.
metal,
aluminium not good for anything. No.
But you can taste it sometimes, and I don't know if you've got a metal filling or something. Sometimes you can feel that with it.
There we go. Propolis is great in hay fever season. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it to the detriment of the bee that they are collecting the propolis, or is I wonder?
You put propolis mats in, and they're just some people use plastic mats, but you can use metal mats. And then if you're a beekeeper, you may know what a queen excluder is, and that's to keep the queen separated from the honey box. I don't really use them, but quite often they're coated with propolis. So I think in the next, it's something I should look at getting into. I've got a friend that makes a lot of propolis sprays, Emily, and so I should be stocking her because unfortunately a lot of products come from China in Australia that even though they're labelled Australian. So if you are buying propolis, you might ask that question: where is it from?
Yeah, that's a good point actually.
Oh,
So what can we do? What can we do? As you just mentioned, that slasher instead of Roundup, if people are poisoning the weeds, which I mean, there are some weeds that have to go. Obviously, there was a lady who put a post down here saying that she keeps a lot of weeds along her fence line to feed the bugs and the bees, and I understand. Yeah, weeds you can have some weeds, but when your garden starts getting overtaken by them, are we allowed to use slasher, or would we be not to?
Without being a scientist, like slasher seems good. They use it on organic food, so that might give it some type of reason that's a preferable product. But yeah, look, I have a gardening, or I used to have a gardening business, and I ended up just using the whipper sniffer a lot more than I would.
Yeah.
Or a knife. Get a knife in under the roots of the weed.
Yeah, that's my favourite thing at the moment is going around the lawn and getting those big ones that look like a flat. It's almost like an obsession. And I went to a children's party with my grandchildren on the weekend, and this lawn had those weeds in it, and I nearly went home to get the tool because it was driving me insane.
What weed? Like it's a flat weed. Yeah.
Oh, it's really good therapy. It's like, I don't know, it's really good therapy.
It kills.
Sorry, I changed the subject. Sorry. And
yes.
In the front of the beehive, sometimes a lot of weeds will grow, and you've got to deal with them. And I'll put something, down. I don't know, an old bit of carpet or something to stop the weeds from growing up.
Yeah.
Into the hive. Yeah, yes.
And so you were saying earlier there was a petition, signing a petition.
Did you say? The fight at the moment that we're fighting is the fire ant poisoning program.
That's what petition's about. Yeah.
So I've got another one, honey laundering and fake honey coming into Australia, and it's got 304,000 signatures. And Senator Rennick, took it to Parliament last year and tabled it. And I don't know, you guys would know all about this probably because you've probably been activists yourselves. But I was like ringing up the team saying, so what happens now? And they said, well, it's not a referendum. And it's like 300,000 signatures and nothing gets done. But in saying that, it shows you how many people I've reached with that message, and hopefully every local beekeeper is benefiting in some way from campaigning hard.
All you can try and do is tell the public and don't buy the honey. That's probably.
I did that very successfully, and to the extent that when I was going through that battle, I could see when one of my articles went viral, the share price would go down. So they started at $22 and then went down to $14, and it was quite hilarious, that journey.
Yes.
And then so that's still going on in the background a bit, but like you would think that they'd wake up and say, all right, we'll stop importing honey. That's right. It must be so lucrative that let's keep doing it and just sue Simon and his mates every few years.
Yeah, and it's money.
Sorry, money.
Sorry, I was going to say it's money. It's all about money.
Yeah.
My cousin, Kate, it was Lisa that we had on talking about the Liberal Party earlier this year. She grows olives, and she was the CEO of the Australian Olive Association for many, many years, and they did a campaign to bring awareness to the public about buying cheap shit olive oil from Spain, and it was really, really successful, and it really got the Australian olive industry booming, and now people seek Australian olive oil over the cheap, shitty Spanish.
Yeah.
But you asked Simon the question before: is there like a group that get like an Australian Honey Association? There
is. It's called ARBIC. They're the ones that are
they're the ones you were saying that you had some problems with.
Yeah, and if you got the time, you could look into the you might write imported honey scandal, ABC, and it was showing that ARBIC were getting a lot of their funding from the honey importers, and that was the implication was they were colluding because
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, can't imagine that.
I can't imagine that ever happening in the pharmaceutical industry.
It's great that the olive industry were able to pull it off, and I do think that this was another remarkable thing. There's a lot of beekeepers that pay for that official ARBIC position and give them money. And last year they did all this comprehensive testing, and they found out a lot of the supermarket honey was fake again. But that now they're not releasing the tests. And apparently it's because they think the whole of Australia's reputation could be tarnished by them releasing the tests. But it would tarnish the supermarket honeys, but it wouldn't tarnish the the backyard beekeepers or the small producers. They'd get into mad. So it's not very fair.
No.
They may have shares.
Well, there's definite collusion. Like I had this weird scenario because I had to try to subpoena documents and things, and the ACCC were working out who they were going to find and who they weren't going to find. And this guy rang me from Western Australia, and he said, "You're going to be really disappointed, but we're going to let them off." And I just thought I'd ring you and let you know. And I said, "How does this work?" Because I've been writing to the labs, and the labs say they're 100% certain that the tests show that the Australian honey wasn't honey, and they know what it is, like beetroot syrup or was the component I think that they were putting in there and trying to get past. And then it was quite clandestine because the guy started saying, "You're recording me. I know you're recording me," and ended up just getting paranoid and hanging up. But he was, in the end, he was right because the ACCC came up with this obscure decision that said we can't tell whether the honey is real honey or not real honey, so we're just going to wash our hands off the whole thing. And so no one got fined in the end, and the biggest honey, I guess, brand at the time that was importing stopped importing for 6 months and then started again 6 months later, and now it's probably as bad as ever. But
so if it's not honey, what is it? Is it?
Well, sugar. Like one thing, and you've probably seen, is that when a lot of beekeepers will feed sugar, so straight sugar, you turn it into a liquid, 50% water, 50% sugar, and it'll actually sometimes that can keep bees alive for a while too. So a lot of beekeepers use sugar, but the other thing is corn syrup. I think sugar, so some beekeepers use that. And then, so feeding your bees, I guess, is causing fake honey. But I think the other thing they do on occasions is mix something cheap like beetroot syrup in with the honey.
Beetroot?
Yeah, they call it root syrup. I don't know. It usually comes from China. Bees are a little scientist, and there was a thing that went viral a couple of years ago where there was this blue honey coming out. I think people were in Denmark and they couldn't work out why it was blue honey, and then they worked out he was near an M&M factory, and all the blue syrup was floating down. Was getting thrown out at the back of the factory, and the bees were foraging on it. And then I had a situation where there was this area where I didn't think there'd be honey at all, and was the wrong time of year for honey, but it was completely full. And it was, when I tasted the honey, it tasted like Pinot Noir. And then it was, ended up the guy had been dumping all these crushed grapes at the, in this back paddock, and the bees had been foraging on it. And it didn't come out like normal honey either. It was sort of a bit, I guess.
Boozy.
Syrupy.
They should have made a mead out of it. That would have been great. That would be honey wine. It was red in colour and not like any honey.
Wow.
That's good. Oh well, I suppose we better
wind up. Yeah, before we get kicked off.
Thank you, Simon, for so much, and I hope people will go on and buy your honey that you provide. And because honey from different areas tastes different too, which is great. With honey,
there's so many different varieties. I think eucalyptus honey is the best. A lot of people ask about Manuka honey.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So Australian Manuka is a lot better than New Zealand Manuka for a few reasons. In New Zealand, they've only got 1 or 2 varieties. We've got something like 86 or 93 or something.
Oh, Manuka trees.
But you might go to Discount Warehouse or somewhere, and you might see expensive Manuka honey behind, the counter. Never buy that. Try to buy direct off the beekeeper when you're buying Manuka. I tell people to buy this one. You just have to Google Medi Jelly. I've hung out with these people a lot and visited their trees, and their name's Peter and Aspen, and they just have the authentic stuff, and they think if they can go direct to the public, they can give a high quality product without having to go through, the
middleman. I think we need to do that more of that. Yeah. Oh, that's great.
And with Manuka, it's like a medicine. It's not like a table honey. But so this honey here, that is ironbark honey. So eucalyptus is usually the nicest to eat and the best for your gut bacteria. But nearly all honey is good topically if the kids get burnt or sunburn or bites. Honey works really well.
Yeah, great.
And I didn't answer, but bee venom is becoming a very popular healing modality, particularly in the US. And they're healing Lyme disease with it. I think in Australia, a lot of people suffer from Lyme disease, but where our government don't want to
acknowledge it.
Watch this space, because there's a few friends that have studied bee venom overseas that are going to start up in Australia. It's a bit underground at the moment. Someone's asked me a link for Medi Jelly. I'll type it in there. I think medijelly.com.
Here it is. Kelly's just put it up, I think. medijelly.com.au.
Yeah. Well, everybody listening, go buy everything direct. Don't buy from the supermarket.
Yeah, don't buy honey from the supermarket.
That's most things.
Buy it from your roadside stalls or your...
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, the honey map, and then, if you go to beesandcure.com, there's bulk honey there. It's antibiotic-free honey, and then at this stage, it's ironbark, but I think there's a beekeeper in Western Australia that's talking to me at the moment, and he's got carry honey, and he's got, he told me he's got 12 ton of it, and he just doesn't want to give it away for nothing to the big packers. But there's interesting. There's a company called Rare, and they buy honey in WA, and they're selling it in Harrods for a jar like this for I think £2,000 or something. So there's
money.
And WA is the last without varroa as well.
Yeah. Right. Okay. Oh, well, that's great. Oh, well, thank you, Simon, so much for coming on and telling us the story, because it's an interesting story, the bee story. Yeah.
It is, and they're having a hard time at the moment, and beekeepers are, so go out.
Yeah.
So
everybody
support your local beekeeper. Find out if anyone in your local area is making honey and support them.
Yes.
And stop poisoning your weeds. I've learned
Yeah.
Yes.
Let
bees,
your lawns go to flower. Grow your own
Yeah.
food.
Yeah. Oh, we
I love
And
it.
become a beekeeper yourself.
And yeah, thank you. And just before we go, those that tuned in late, this could be the last show on Facebook. Not the last show, but Facebook because of the digital ID. So you would have to go to Rumble or Twitter or wherever. So I'm not doing digital ID.
No.
No.
No. They can
Definitely
stick it up their flue. Not
Yeah.
Exactly.
yeah,
Well, be
not-
free and save the bees.
Yes. Thanks,
Yeah.
Kelly. We're ready to go. Thank you, Simon. See you soon, Kate.
The honey map will never require digital ID, so you'll always.
Oh, good. I'm glad about that. Yeah, go to the honey map. It's great. I've been there. Thanks, Simon. Like,
See ya.
Historically, we are the debris, forgotten faces, never more to be. Instead of legends fighting for something that had no guarantees, living ghosts we chose to live and die as their worker bees. Why didn't we break out from their hive? Why didn't we follow our own sun to another life? Why didn't we scroll over all their flowers? Brothers and sisters, it's okay to be free. Brothers and sisters, it's time to be freedom of movement, freedom of thought, freedom to choose, freedom to talk, freedom of religion and association, freedom of the press, freedom to be you, freedom to be you, freedom to be me. I can feel your secret vibrations like our last fading song. It's time, oh, it's time to be free. I can hear your vibrations like a final human cry. Oh, it's time to be way past time to be free.
Hey, Treasure, can you hear us?
I can. Hi, I'm just sending you a text.
Oh, lovely.
I said, have fun with Santa.
Yeah, we need to get out of it because he's been pumping the tunes out and it's echoing all around here. And he must be very well known in the area because he's got this massive property and a bad attitude. So we're pretty keen to get on the road.
Gonna keep going.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for getting Simon on, Kay.
Yeah, he's good.
Brilliant.
I might get him on myself again. I'll do a long one. I'll do that.
Hey,
Simon.
Yeah.
We're talking about you. I wouldn't mind if getting you on with me and doing a really long, slow chat. If you'd be interested to do that, I really admire your work, brother.
Oh, thanks, mate. Yeah, look, great. Yeah, you'll be
contact me when you've got some time, and you say, "And no, we'll make it happen." You know.
All right. Yeah, look forward to it.
We've got to get the honey on the shop. We've got to get this shop.
Yeah. Well, that's that beef-free stuff. You know, that's we're building the movement. It's got bands. Blue bee people are buying them like crazy.
Perhaps
and
Simon could do
it's a symbol of freedom because they don't live in a hive, they don't follow a queen, a rabbit hole, but they still pollinate flowers. So they want to be a part of society. They just want to be an individual. They want to be free. So I think they're a symbol for Australia. Yeah, very powerful.
Yeah. You've probably seen that's my the logo on Save the Bees Australia at the moment.
Yeah, man. I think it's great, and I think this is something we can win because people get it. People love bees, so I'd love to help any way I can, brother.
I do.
Yeah. Well, I think your influence on things like the poisoning program. Yeah, you'll get to
poisonings, genocide. I think it's who would wipe out their own food bowl, and it's happening down here in Victoria. It doesn't make any sense. Only if you see it from the side of evil. If you just look from the side of good, just makes no sense. Nothing. No. Same with Desi, same with everything else. Nothing makes any sense. Yeah, from our point of view, a common sense, decent point of view. Only from a point of view of control or takeover or some other nefarious thing. Anyway, we have to get going. We've got a bit of driving to do, so I'll be in touch.
All right. Okay.
Thanks, Simon. See ya. Bye.
Bye.
Okay. Oh, good. You'll have to listen to that. It was really Simon was really.
My mouse has been.
Me too. Mine's not working. I'll see ya.